can be part of the program through a text message to their free cell number 077-981-981. The program now Good Morning Salone, and it come to you from 98.1 FM. Well, as soon as you form, we program headline this morning with a look at the effects against the coronavirus. Outside the Institute for Governance Reform, IGR, inside one research, don't say over 30% of people in Africa under lost interest by the effects against the COVID-19. Well, inside the program, I want to welcome the Executive Director, Andrew Lavalley. Good morning, Mr. Lavalley, and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Asma. Good morning, Khadija, and good morning, listeners.
All right, so we'll continue for the between the program.
We will continue with the program, Good Morning Salone, and we will look at one for our headlines to read them. Outside the CEO and co-founder of the domestic helper organization, Chelsea Alman Hero, don't call on government for develop policy we go protect domestic workmen them in the country. Chelsea Alman Hero talk this inside our interview with Radio Democracy for member of the International Domestic Workers Day, when at today, Tuesday, June 16. Chelsea Almahiro talk more inside this interview with Mange Mansari. Alright, we will bring the interview there. Outside Chelsea Almahiro be the talk about the International Domestic Workers Day, where then they join other countries for member today, Tuesday, June 16 this year. We will bring the interview day later on at the program. Well, as soon as earlier today at the program, the Institute for Governance Reform, IGR, been do one survey outside and fair not say over 30% people are free to lost interest by the threat against the coronavirus. Well, we can't just not to Mr. Andrew Lavalley, but we will continue with the program and we will take another issue.
Well, we're going to cut now outside the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Priscilla Schwartz, inside the alleged treason case in the High Court before Justice Alaji Momoja Stevens say the no case submission with the defense for retired Major Alfred Paulo Conte submits no important and safe no get standard. Radio Democracy Court reporter Usman Kamara gets more and gonna report.
Story day. The program, Good Morning Salone.
I think Khadija would get small issue this morning with the computer. This morning, but I believe say then go producer then go sort them out as they go with the program this morning, Good Morning Salone.
Well, we will continue the program with the Canal Studio. Also, we get Andrew Lavalley, the Executive Director for Institute for Governance Reform, IGR. Well, as we all know, IGR now one pandy organization there we don't do plenty research on different things them we get for do with governance and other things them. Well, as Salone we begin registers positive number of coronavirus case them inside March this year. IGR now by the institution they we don't work with other stakeholders them by the FED and then do a research for know how far Salone people them nobody think them where they make they not get the coronavirus and tap the way how the virus they spread in the country. Well, the recent so research when they do this BNTM, they found out say over 30% people are free to dollars interest by the threat against the coronavirus. Good morning one more time, Mr. Lavalley, and welcome to the program Good Morning Salone.
Yeah, good morning, Khadija.
Alright. As I don't state when I do a research, so when I found out say people are free to about 30% dollars interest. By the threat against the coronavirus, which means they don't do the thing they again, wait for tap them not forget the virus or tap the way how the virus they prevent themselves from the virus. Before we look at the reports, start for explaining people they know on our main focus when we do this research.
Good morning again. When I know say the Institute for Governance Reform they do quite a lot of research work, and we can say again before we even go further, we can say kudos to the EOC team and the Ministry of Finance because then they actually use research information. The importance of them here. So civil society work is not just about really how they critique, but whether some of the recommendations that we present, then they actually take on board and use them. So thank you very much, Mr. Jamiru. Now you're here. So we don't do quite a lot of work, and we don't work extensively with MIT and at the US because of them now really now research partner, and we work with the Ministry of Finance. And the research we wanna flag down a headline. Now we the EOC really commissioned, so we want to find this out, and that's why I say I'm glad within the user information day. One of the biggest finding that we ask people, and which more you worried about? You worry about COVID or you worry about your economy, you live and nothing, how you defend you living. You have 35% of people where they say, me not really worry about COVID. Because me, I can wear mask, I can do something with protect myself, I go work.
Then people are free turn in there.
Now free turn and the environment. That means Western rural, urban and Western rural. Western rural, urban and Western rural. Western rural district. So you have 65% where they talk say me still worry about the sickness. Now I'm more worry about. And you see the research trends there now that they do around the world about whether they for open the economy or they not for open the economy. So if you get 35% of people in the talk say me not really care about COVID, I think say that one day now something we'll for talk about. Nine the research, but the first one we'll do, we can share on Radio Democracy at some time ago. Now before the lockdown, and we do this. So if you do that same research again, you float that same question to people in Africa, you will see say that number will increase. So the more we go, and people in there see any end in sight, they will begin. So let me live with this disease here and start for doing it. So you can actually they drink tea and they waka. So you can do your work and you live with COVID. So I think say I'm glad the way Solomon there. Maybe Solomon will tell you about the strategy. So if you talk about saving lives and saving livelihoods, when at the core strategy of the EOC, you therefore see how you therefore make sure say the one day we then talk say me now my livelihood don't know clean and I don't get food for it. You say last year on house, I just begin to think about COVID. If I'm able to feed me picking then. I think say this is a very difficult question where everybody gets. So that research information, I don't know how far they don't discuss them and use them in their work, but it was meant for talk saying now this is not the trend now so people in the do. So this week when they come, the next week we will do another one across the country with MIT and Ministry of Finance and DSTI for just show even the message way because if you take your phone now, you there is somebody they say COVID day, this coronavirus here, but a lot of people who they talk to, they talk say if me get 5 months old picking my body they want, and they get corona symptoms, I don't know what thing for do. So waiting that research village try for show how we are able to change the messaging so that people will know what thing for do. A lot of people in the talk say, you know what thing, it don't become difficult now because I want to go see me people in Abo, we get this lockdown and I'm able to go. But you know, not to Salone no more. Around the world, people they really struggle with this COVID restriction. So how government go pull the restriction? Where there is one fear say maybe if they pull this restriction here, we'll just get a new wave. Freetown now at the epicenter. A lot of people in Freetown there will just be this mad rush and go upline, and the capacity we get right now for hold the disease, even at treatment center, will not get that capacity if the disease multiply. So you get quite a lot of fears we play with right now as we go through the pandemic. Now that make research information very important. And I want to share this with listeners about what in the UK they do. The UK then get what they call the Nudge Unit. What in the Nudge Unit they do? The Nudge Unit is a group of researchers where then they on a daily basis and they actually collect information. If they talk say controller and so controller they behave, that the EOC version of controller, it make sure say people then change their behavior in controller on the basis of that information. But right now, how you go open the economy, where if really for wear mask, nine they protect we don't know how many people in the wear mask, we don't know how they chill. I want let Mr. Jamiru.
Mr. Lavali, we will come to Mr. Jamiru later, but let me look at the research we want to do. For make 30% of 35% of Freetown people lost interest in the fight against the COVID. What did this they show you?
the and the media have put something. They're more worried about the economy, the livelihood, than COVID. So I think it means quite a lot. It means you get a lot of people out there where they not go care, then go really practice risky practices. So you go see when you talk to Boku people. I don't know if you can ask this question: why you know they wear masks? Some people, no, I get mask you didn't have my or I get mask you didn't have my pocket. Because the thing that we COVID can with, we all know use them. And the thing we're bad about the disease, a lot of people with the disease they affect or infect, they're asymptomatic. So it means you go actually get the sickness well. So you get a lot of denial where it take place. So that make you, if we do this research again, over 40% will talk to me not care. So the longer we wait, the more disinterest they set in, and the more the economy the bad. I listen to una one day where una host the NRA commissioner where they actually talk about how they cope with the economy. The economy, I think, say they in some fall from the NRA figures we see, and that they affect livelihoods, it affect households, it affects incomes. So if that day they happen, people in they find their own way for adapt in ways where they know. You get some people and they waiting and they live on nightclubs, entertainment. Down they know they. You get some people in the hoteliers, down they know they, and they workers there. So I think say the longer we wait, the more people will take risky practices.
Mr. Lavalley, what do you think say the country miss in this fight?
You get quite a lot where we miss. I think say one of the things that we don't feel in are the data void. For talk say you need to act intelligently. So it's not just about doing sensitization, let's do Veronica bucket, go put an adjunction, but how every loan and dollar way they spend, how they contribute. But I think say this whole idea of inclusiveness, let people then come together and affect this fact as one. And it play out more inside COVID, and you see the epicenter Freetown, where the government and the mayoral council, the intention they really help. So I believe say they for work more closer together than for actually because now politicians everybody they jockey for numbers, everybody they jockey for votes. I want to let this happen fine so that I will look good and I'll get votes in 2023. But I think say fine for let we put down there at the back burner. Because if you watch, Mr. Jamil will correct me if I'm wrong, all of the country, all districts, now from Freetown they get the sickness. They don't get them from Brussels or London. Now from Freetown here, then the thing spread. So it means if we not put our hearts together for tackle Freetown, right now Freetown they carry over 60% of the infections across the country. So if we not put our hearts together and handle Freetown, I don't know what's in the Freetown strategy, because actually you get communities where they get zero infection, you get communities where they get moderate infections, you get Freetown when at the epicenter. So waiting at the strategy for the epicenter, I think so that's one thing. So the division is not really helping. I see the question of stigma, but the question of stigma, I think so we don't address that small, but stigma be really big. When you get COVID, it just start like say, now fall you don't thief, or you don't just eat chicken. The way they steering they come. In fact, one time somebody said me, just like saying I arrested, they can't arrest me. We interview some of the patients there. Mm-hmm. So addressing stigma, I think is a major issue. I don't know if some people then see one article where David Senge writes, but in family will become infected. I believe say leaders therefore take steps. Therefore take steps and steps like that one day for make sure say we reduce stigma. So the division, I think say na one of the biggest thing we.
All right, we can look at. May you talk more what you mean by division or inclusiveness in this phase as we continue for talk about the 35% research people we will now research to show say don't lose interest in the fight against COVID. The program now Good Morning Salone, and they come to you from 90.1 FM. Well, they come over again to the other studio guests. I think it don't take but 3 weeks or so in Okanaya, so can get updates. Solomon Jamiru, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and also spokesperson for NACOVAC. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Welcome back after NACOVAC media team go across the country. Also, wanna go observe what's in the happening and hold different press briefing them. Mr. Jamiu, so give me update on wetin don happen so far in the fight.
Okay, I tell you plenty thank you, Asma, as we fumbled and always know, and because not all man can get opportunity for know the figures, I just want to give tell we fumbled and say we continue for fight coronavirus. Now, Salone, as at yesterday, the figures, the cumulative confirmed positive cases, 1,176. The total number of deaths, now 51. The active new cases, now 7. 5 for Western area urban, 1 for Western area rural, and 1 for Bombali district. The cases now the isolation centers, now 442. The cumulative recoveries now 683. The number within a quarantine now 1,530. And the number we don't be discharged from quarantine 5,911. Indeed, first make I tell plenty thank you to Institute for Governance Reform for the investigation we then they do, the research we then they do. Then we do one a short while ago for help for know about public education around COVID, and I think they then do pretty much very good work and help we for understand also some of the gaps there in public education. But by and large, we feel greatly validated because we can for understand say a lot of people really don't know about coronavirus, but to get a lot of challenges still, we need for deepen and widen public education. And so Asma I go on for say shortly, NACOVAC, they continue for work for eliminate coronavirus. And the good thing, now that we don't get the district emergency response centers, we don't be set up. We see a lot of commitment also on their part for support the national level for fight coronavirus. And I think say once allocation of resources become a critical part of this machinery, a lot of changes there we will go see in coronavirus. And so we want for just continue for ask, we fumble them. Say, do you the things so they advise you for do? For them continue for the wash we hand with soap all the time, would they use the face mask all the time, and do social distancing all the time? Would I make you continue for do that? And as the research they show that about 35% of Sierra Leoneans then seem for the lost interest in the fight against coronavirus. We just want for encourage you family and say, do you make you not give up? Make we intensify this fight because it in all interest for make you fight coronavirus.
NACOVAC we did before for the fight against the virus. On our team then just come out all over the country. Also on a meet with stakeholder them give updates about the fight and all. Fit on at the epicenter, but it clearly shows say people them not they do the thing again when at the precautionary measures where the well body will command them don't put say wash your hand, wear face masks, avoid social distancing. What about the upline parts them? Where on a go? What on a find out as to how people they adhere to the precautionary measures?
Honestly, Khadija, I think say we need for continue for encourage the family and for use face mask and social distancing. From district to district, we do 10 districts. Day 1 we do Bo and Kenema. Day 2 we do Kaila and Pujaung. Day 3 we do Moyamba, Putloko. Day 4 we do Kambia and Bombali. Day 5 we do Tonkolili. And then yesterday we wrap up with Kono district. As we move along, we believe say there are encouraging signs, but we still need for deepen public education around COVID and encourage people for continue for the wear face mask and do social distancing. One of the reasons where we think say they account for this gap from district to district, you still get people where they talk about this asymptomatic cases about coronavirus. You still get some people where they find it difficult for understand how you go tell me say I get coronavirus where I know they sneeze, I know they cough. Me a mature and responsible person. If I sick, I get malaria, they know say I get malaria. But if I not feel any of those signs, I not feel any of those symptoms, how you go tell me say me get coronavirus? So you got to take time for really explain to a lot of people. So I think say risk communication around COVID, for who they in risk communication and public information largely, we think say we still continue to get challenges and we don't embrace them challenges then and we believe say we need for continue for deepen this. Potloko district, for example, I want to single out Potloko district as a very fine example. I say this because after we don't do interaction and the press update, I take time for move inside Potloko district and specifically go visit what they call the central attire base. Asma, throughout the street where they move, I saw people with face masks, and I just do an unceremonial stop at the central attire base, and I met all the guys in the attire base wearing face masks. I think say Potloko is a very fine example of what me personally see. Other districts, then they wear face mask, and I believe say it's important for me to intensify this fact and really want to move around. That's not a message to people in risk communication, that's a message to people in social mobilization. Say we make to continue. The nature of this disease now such that at some point, because now we talk about doing the new normal, all NTO they do so now, face mask will not be ever used them before. Some man go talk about the inconvenience way they go through. Some man, as Andrew don't say, you know, even at the risk of bullets, people then they go now do for go find food. That was what happened during the war. So at some point, it looked like say apathy can set in. Some people are more concerned about the socioeconomics behind this. But I think say we need to embrace this as a challenge and do more. So really, there is a great deal of commitment on the part of DICOVAX, we will see all over. We see a lot of willingness on the part of Sierra Leoneans, but we still see a lot of gaps for we. Now a challenge for make we able for really widen and deepen compliance with life-saving measures.
Mr. Jamil, you make mention say NACOVAX still encourage people for adapt the habit of wearing face mask. But this don't turn law. We mean say now it must everybody if you're going to a public place before wear face mask. But a lot of people then they will still not agree for wear face mask. NACOVAC thinks they don't reach to that point owner for involve the law implementing body them, where for example the police and other people them for make sure say people really abide to the law and wear face mask.
Khadija, I agree with you. Primarily, we think say a lot of education around COVID for encourage all our citizens for use the face mask, they do with safe distancing, they wash your hand with soap all the time. And then discussions here, we don't get a lot of time. And at some point, we have been saying, if ultimately all of their encouragements there, all of their advocacy here, they fail, ultimately, because the government is responsibility for protect lives and protect and property, and because of the viral transmissibility, this whole disease, if one person is infected, research they show we say it go infect a whole lot of people, and I think say because of that viral transmissibility, you therefore stop at some point. I agree with you that there has to be enforcement, and the mechanisms for this, we have been discussing this. The last time we were there on air, we read people in the Motor Drivers Union, for example, talk to the membership that you have to do this as a matter of must. So we think, and at some point, Mr. really beget a difficulty. Let me say this, Khadija. And the fact that people have not been complying, is it really a function of public education or a function of attitude? I think it's something we really have to investigate. IGR do the research on Western area, which we say over 90 or 95% of people in Western area, they know about coronavirus, they know the dangers, they know the importance of wearing face masks and social distancing. But why is it that people are not doing it? So for us, we feel validated that we have done a lot in risk communication and public education around this. But if people are not doing it, and it's clearly a function of attitude, why can't we enforce this? And I think the enforcement is very key. Otherwise, we will continue for the getting fundamental gaps, and it really will jeopardize the fight against coronavirus.
So just take yourself out of NACOVAC and just a citizen of Salone, and then forget about the research IGL don't do. In your estimation, you actually feel say people get interest in the faith, the whole COVID faith way we get in the country?
I think there is a great deal of willingness, Asma. And if we talk about apathy in substantial part, it's a global syndrome. I talked to Usman, a friend in the UK. He said how the headache the UK government gets. Now try to see how a good number of people will also they use face masks and also they observe social distancing. Because they continue to record figures. They continue to record cases. You find out, say, in some African countries, people walk out of quarantine homes. I listened to one on an interview on sex workers. And my takeaway for that interview was they were more concerned about the economics behind this, because then they lost customer, they need money. And so you get different reasons why they account for the apathy. It's not that people are not, they get public education, they do a lot about COVID. And also asthma, I think, it's just like somebody doing on medication. Sometimes we don't do on medication for long, you just say, me, I don't tire. If God, they take me life, now make it up. So at some point, I think apathy comes in. But that's not the challenge where they define, we campaign against coronavirus, and we'll never stop, really.
All right, continue for the program. The program now, Good Morning Salone, 8 o'clock, now the time for almost studio clock, where they go for this short break.
Salone Commercial Bank don't come with new banking products them for make life easy. With Million Online Bank and Million Mobile App, you can able for use Salone Link money transfer for send money to anybody elect you not get bank account. Transfer or receive money na the same bank or any other bank. Transfer money to person or office elect you not get the account number. Buy head salad, pay other bill them, and now get advanced salary. You don't need for worry again but almost money then you earn. Because you can able for pay for things the way you buy in a supermarket and other shop them with the quick response code payment. Yakba don't done for the boss man them. With Beyond Online Direct, you can upload salary, pay all your supplier them, sell forex to Salone Commercial Bank, and watch your account anytime. If you need the app, download them from Google Play Store or any Apple Store, or go to Salone Commercial Bank website www.slcb.com. Sierra Leone Commercial Bank, delivering value.
We continue with the program Good Morning Salone, where they come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. We will bring the program to you this Tuesday morning. Mina Khadija Bangura
and Mina Asma James.
Well, we go down to High Court inside the Attorney General and Minister of Justice Priscilla Schwartz inside the alleged treason case na High Court before Justice Alhaji Momoja Stevens. He said the no case submission with the defense team for retired Major Alfred Paulo contest submit not get important and safe, not get standard. We reporter Usman Kamara Bide yesterday at the High Court and he go now report.
Inside the alleged treason trial case where they carry on a High Court before Justice Alhaji Momoja Stevens, the defense for retired Major Alfred Paulo Conte don't submit the no case submission. We mean say better evidence not against retired Major Alfred Paulo Conte inside this alleged treason trial case. We immediately read the no case submission on behalf of incumbent lawyer them. The lawyer for retired Major Alfred Paulo Conte, lawyer Abdullahi O. Conte, say no evidence no show inside this case say retired Major Alfred Paulo Conte want for assassinate President Bio and overthrow the government. A carry on say for the first tenor Salone, the state charged with treason without conspiracy. We should say the state not get case against retired Major Alfred Paulo Conte when a treason. Lawyer Abdullahi O. Conte Simweso say one person not commit treason and most of the counts charge them, the court for pull am because no importance. A carry on say a member one witness been testifying at court say now unlawful possession of weapon then been investigate retired Major Alfred Paulo Conte for. But the witness say now through the advice of the AG office them in charge retired Major Alfred Paulo Conte with treason where he say not good for the country democracy. We make a ask the court through the judge, Justice Alhaji Momoja Stevens, for left retired Major Alfred Paulo Conte because evidence not the way proper for charge Paulo Conte with treason. After we lawyer Abdullahi O. Conte done a no case submission, the judge Justice Alhaji Momoja Stevens be asked the state prosecuting team if they get any reply, and the Attorney General and Minister of Justice Priscilla Schwartz be say the no case submission where retired Major Alfred Paulo Conte in lawyer then submit lack merit and not get principle of standards. Now from that point the lawyer for the second accused, Sir Anthony Sina, when a lawyer Enrique Columbus Thompson, be start for read in your no case submission. Usa is say the second accused, Sir Anthony Sina, not get case for answer because the state fail for show evidence them against him. Lawyer Enrique Columbus Thompson continue say the state seems to be fail for show whether state host na public or private place. The reason for this na because he say one party can't charge them say carrying weapon in a public place and state house is say not to public place, and say anybody wey dey go na state house na on appointment. So e say the count charge gets problem wey make e ask the court for pull am na the indictment, and set for pull count 4 and 12 because e say e no important. Lawyer Enrique Columbus Thompson been same way so make different points dem, and later Justice Alhaji Momoja Stevens been ask the state prosecuting team for reply, but lawyer Adrian Fisher beat him up and say because of time dem go take date for reply to the second accused and no case submission because e say term don go. So the court may agree for June 16 this year we lawyer Adrian Fisher go reply to the second accused then no case submission. For the Society for Radio Democracy, Mina Usman Kamara, the reports.
We continue with the program Good Morning Salone, where they come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. Well, as we earlier today in the program, we look at how far Salone they now participate against the coronavirus, as the Institute for Governance Reform IGR be doing research, where shows say over 30% people in Africa don't lose interest participate against the coronavirus. Well, Radio Democracy be same way so talk to some civil society activists them. We talk about what they think say no be happen right participate against the coronavirus. We start for talk to Marcella Sambasise, one of the executive director for Campaign for Good Governance.
My name is Marcella Sambasise, and I'm the executive director for Campaign for Good Governance. One of the things that we need to understand is that we acknowledge the fact that governments all across the world being taken off guard with the COVID-19, and no government not get the right approach or strategy for fight this pandemic. Every other government they learn as they go along. But unfortunately, one of the things that people go they look at, it's not a zero-sum game for say, okay, this happened, then the figure then can't do. But if we don't be very welcoming, if citizens they don't begin to see some of the figures, then it come on some organized strategy and approach. But unfortunately, as the case may be, I will start with the citizens therefore. Still, there is this denial among people. And people they not believe say COVID-19 all the sensitization with all the reports they read in the area of people then they die, with all the footage where they see worldwide as to how COVID do ravage even modern nations. People then don't die up to 50 in a salon. People still they in denial say COVID-19 not there. The question of course of social distancing because of we own makeup now Africa. This is not even about Sierra Leone. The manner in which we interaction, the social networking now Africa, now they make room for effective social distancing. And one of the things that we probably governments across Africa and Salone in particular for don't look at, we for don't look inwards. Waiting really now we own strategy where they work for and use them for address some of the challenges then are the fight. And as much as all of this they happen, we get for strive as best as possible for not fall into a humanitarian crisis. Poverty, people really they suffer. But then how even the small way available where governments they provide, how that small day they reach the ordinary citizens and the real public. One of the things that we know the problem we don't come to the phone are the strategy when NACSA they use. So these are the things that are missing. How NACSA they identify them publicly also. Then therefore be transparent in their dealing. Because I can always say in every society you get different categories, but you get the poorest of the poor. So we therefore understand exactly who the NACSA they target and who therefore benefits from this. If this information not in a public and people at the community level not understand them, the one that they in charge will take advantage of the situation, and then the real people will for benefit from their package here with government they give, they're not going to benefit from them. So transparency around who that's exactly now the poor people the way they talk about say, this kind of situation we need for no. I think government need for quickly get NACSA for due diligence around this. A number of issues they don't come up and we don't think say government to address them adequate. So due diligence need for be done around this. Even access to the persons with disability, because the first package age, during the lockdown, we target the persons with disability. The data my Salone shows say 93,000 people then, now they're disabled. According to the census figures. But then almost people Naxa reach, and what's have been in criteria for which them people and how they make them decision then they. If these decisions are not transparent, because they brought in the inequality gap now the society, and a number of people then will feel say they're left out of all of this.
From a small country the name, Executive Director of Citizens Advocacy Network CAN. What's missing in this COVID-19 fitness really na community or social mobilization? One of the biggest challenges we get is social mobilization. What do you mean by social mobilization? Most communities don't go back to their normal life. They just not even care about waiting happen around. They not even they take note of the precautionary measures. If they see social distancing, they be violated in all sectors. It tells you that there is a serious deficit. There is a serious gap between the people where they really relay the information to the common people in the ground and the common people in itself. Because once there is that gap, it make the people they relax and feel say life is just normal, or that they just want for deny them, they want for deprive them no more than freedom. And nobody wants in freedom for be deprived. So there is a lot to be done by government and the agencies or the bodies that will not be established for ensure that they do massive social mobilization in the form of sensitization, community engagement. The area of community engagement, a lot of communities they complain that even the one the way they coordinate this COVID-19 fight are far away from the people. What I mean by far away? They are not the kind of grassroots people. These are people that just go and take from whatever sentiment, I don't know, and then can bring them into positions, most of them. And once that happens, you don't create a kind of strained relationship. You have people who will not be able to actually cascade the necessary information and will for carry out the functions for which they have been appointed. That is a serious challenge in this fight. A lot of communities then they go without even fear that COVID-19 they exist. And this is how COVID-19 they continue for thrive. Now different communities where they get challenges there even as we speak now. So unless we get strategies and measures in place, get the right information and the right people in, get journalists on board, get civil society activists on board, get the religious community on board, get youth groups, community-based organizations on board, for really go and touch the heart and minds of the people on this COVID-19. It will be difficult for we forget the people and for really comply with the regulations wholesomely.
Ibrahim Tommy, Executive Director, Center for Accountability and Rule of Law. I think, a number of things missing, but me want to say one of the most critical elements in responding to any outbreak or indeed pandemic of this nature, now that citizens then for take responsibility. Don't get me wrong, government gets a lot of things for do, and by all means we need to hold government to account for a failure. Government for make policies, for provide treatment centers, for pay health workers, all of that government supposed for do them. And we government not do them, now we responsibility for whole government to account. But that they tell you say, experience don't show say, not only when citizens they accept say, then get responsibility. For example, for use mask in public, for avoid crowded places, for take basic measures. That is how we get for reduce infection rate. And if we ever get even a break in transmission, not only when citizens them accept, say, there is a virus or defect, and they set their responsibility as citizens, now we go make that kind of progress we want for make. So clearly one of the things that we're really missing is that we're not able to get citizens en masse, really, for come on board, for do the basic things that we themselves supposed to do. Of course, government get their own responsibility and government don't get a few things wrong, but to be honest, with all the feelings on the part of government, if we citizens then go just say to ourselves, listen, let we even ignore government for a moment in this fight. Let we focus on ourselves and do what we're supposed to do as citizens. I think we will make significant progress. In other words, for defeat this virus, me really believe say the role of the individual is perhaps even more important or equally important as the role of government. The other thing we're missing is I think we need to stop for fool ourselves. We need for now accept say we go do all we want to do for suppress the virus. But the truth is we need to begin talk about living with corona. Because I don't think so we'll continue like this until, for example, a vaccine is found or until we get a break in transmission. I don't even believe say Nadana the target.
Alright, that's Ibrahim Tomi, we the Executive Director for Center for Accountability and the Rule of Law, CAL. By the end that interview, then they we Radio Democracy been do with some civil society activists them for sake of the fight against the coronavirus. We continue with the program, Good Morning Salone, where they come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy, 98.1 FM. When they go for this short break, we come and continue again with the program.
Better don't come. Now you don't trust bank again. Your salon banco. You don't trust bank, get plenty product and service there for you. You must get what you want to go better. Let me savings account, ide. Current account, ide. Fixed deposit account, ide. Credit facility, ide. All for you. Me and you. Union Trust Bank, that's a loan for me and you. Kids future savings account, ide. School fee savings account, ide. Pay advance salary scheme, there. We branch and they all up but not alone. Boko no kenema, we dey. Kabalama bogo kakambia, we dey. Jala Freetown don't side, we dey. And my lengthy one, me and you. Union Trust Bank, me and you. Union Trust Bank, Union Trust Bank, that's a loan for me and you. Union Salone Banco, Union Trust Banco.
Union Trust Bank, empowering Sierra Leonean businesses.
Salone gets enforced corona case March 31, 2020. And from that time to now, plenty people don't get this sick. But plenty people say so don't well from the sick. After we then clear them go to treatment center and take good care of them. But the sick still in the country.
Plenty people get message them where they can talk, and some of them message they are not even be true. Now that make Radio Democracy with support from Usiwa, they bring to you special corona update program. Usa go to get accurate information about the coronavirus in the country.
This program going to be every Wednesday, 12 to 1 o'clock afternoon.
And Master Sabi people from the well body sector and other people themselves go there for tell you body sick.
Alright, well, we continue with the program 17 minutes after 8. Now the time for almost studio clock. We get John Solomon Jamiu in the spokesperson for NACOVAC and also Andrew Lavalley from the IGR. They do research on people, their opinion, perception on the COVID. Also, they find out that 35% of people now free to lost interest. I come over to you, Mr. Lavalley. We hear from the different CSOs them also. Everybody gets your opinion of why they think say people don't lost interest. But bottom line is the people the ownership of the COVID. Now one way not today in this fate. When you compare to what may happen in the Ebola case. In una research, una find similar thing there. Say the people when they make they lost interest now because they not get ownership as you earlier talk inside your response.
Thank you very much. I think them three colleagues then really addressed something very important. Kyle talked about the ownership of everybody. They can say corona not just about government but everybody. Marcella, I see home in an argument on accountability, and which is very true. Because if we get institutional accountability, people then will trust the process more. I see Thomas More talk about trust in social mobilization, and I see who side Thomas they come up from. Because different people in the trust, different people in a salon. That's all country day. So now that make first what they talk say we get divisions. And if there are divisions, you get for make sure say everybody with people in trust. Now then for mobilize for make sure say they get the message. To me, not to just how from send the message, but which message go. I'll give an example of this woman where he get 5-month-old picking in body one, which he do, which he for do. now there is a demand say Lord do self-isolation. So what are the conditions under which you go do self-isolation if the treatment centers and the overrun? So all of them here are very important within 3 colleagues in the talk. But I think say the biggest message to government now under this circumstance, because people they lost trust, they lost interest in the disease, in this whole talk because of the economic and livelihood conditions, we therefore ask ourselves, how do we revive the interest? And one way for revive the interest, now we then open the hopes. Say if we do A, B, and C, right now we get 1,180 something or so, 60 something or 80 something or so. If we do this for 2 months, we'll be able to reduce infection rate, we'll be able to reduce the number of people that will die. Then I will make waiting to me they talk about, let people own them. Because to many people it appears endless. Yeah. And the more it appears endless, you say, okay, well this young, let us do something now because I don't know when this will end. I know say this is not the challenging people that they get around the world. But if we want for open up free town, let people then go now the districts will go about. If we want let people then go to the nightclubs, we therefore get behavior change indicators. Like where the spokesperson that they talk about Port Loco. Is it that if we see 90% of people in Australia Leone they wear masks, we go open up?
But
is it that if we get social...
Just a quick one,
yeah.
This opening up of certain places there. Now, Fritonia, I don't know if we research cover certain area there because some area the way you go to the net, you find out see people they don't go back to normalcy, then they do the normal things they again. Along the God Rich area for good at that level, the bad they already there, especially on weekends, and they open people and they chill.
Definitely. I think say now that makes some people there is this debate say in fact when I increase the coffee to 12 o'clock. Believe me, with waiting the setting now, if you increase the coffee to 12 o'clock, the country will just open. So I think waiting really missing now the target way the public forgets, where the EOC forgive. See if we do A, B, and C, I think say there is quite a lot of awareness raising on sensitization. But if at all like waiting Carly talk, we get forgive the onus on the people then for let them say drive the pandemic, they forget target. Now that make chiefs and forget target. If you go now, me don't know why government not give carrying a trophy yet. Because carrying and not consistently don't they record 0. Waiting at the mechanism we carrying they put in place as a district then they get record 0. So if we got for incentivize communities, let communities then take action and about anything. But we can only do that if communities then get target. Say now I target this on social distancing, now I target this on wearing masks. If you chief or you community elders, you headman, if people then do this, we will allow the intra-district trade happen. We will allow the because right now the thing we're really not the concern right now. If you see Guard Street open, Kuton Road open, but if you go Bundapi, we not get any case. The Luma is locked there. So what is the argument? Why are we discriminating, the measures in one district from the other? So I think say we need to get standards where citizens then they hold themselves to account for, and that will determine waiting na the next steps. Yes.
Now I can ask you earlier about on a respondents and the people who respond to this particular research we do, because Radio Democracy Safe don't do some kind of investigative journalism. Somebody don't go through upline and come back. You they find out say most places them where other people they assume say they lock, they don't lock. Once you get money, people then they pass through. You know, facing as some of the reasons that this will make the country they continue for register cases.
Yes, that and many reasons. In fact, if you analyze the infection pattern, you see say infection the more now ruling party control areas than opposition areas. So you see say more the frequency of travel from Freetown to ruling party control areas is higher if not Freetown they infect communities. So it's not just about people where they bypass, because if you look the index case na Kenima, na possible you get pass. So yes, that one day na issue, but I think say to me the bottom line now how we forget certain behavior standards where the country for live up to, because you get countries then they talk say we get to make sure we test everybody in the country. We test as many people as possible. If we don't have that facility for let's make sure say everybody test, then we are left with behavior standards.
Okay. Mr. Lavalley will come back to you and they come over to Mr. Jamiu. We'll come look at what Mr. Lavalley don't talk. But let me look at the issue of isolation or quarantine. I mean, it's 3-4 months into the fete, and since day one, we don't get major complaints about conditions of isolation centers and quarantine. We don't get the pillar heads then we don't explain. Even with evidences we can get, they still can challenge, say no, then they provide or the place take okay. The recent one, I don't know if you don't hear about that now. I think there are some people right now the FPC center. Again, they send pictures with, I mean, the bathroom, going to the bathroom is very, okay for the people. Again, I get another information, say, they take one person, not 34, but they not get place for the mama or one of them and the pikin. So, what's it happen now? We're opting now. We still they complain, patients they complain about isolation centers and condition waking the day.
Thank you very much, Asma. Another one for speak specifically to 34 or Frobe College, because I think it's.
But already complaints they come out.
Yes, but
like Frobe College constantly we don't get complaints of the condition where they do.
Yeah, so I think it's something that we have to investigate, and also based on some complaints the last time, myself Bigode together with Dr. Spencer, and we visit Bigger for bring some interventions. But this one way they talk about now, and Timisa just came yesterday. I will make sure they investigate and see. But generally, I think so we acknowledge the fact say coronavirus, nothing way. No matter how best you mobilize resources, no matter how hard you plan, the nature of this pandemic is such that it will always challenge your resources. It will get you overstretched. Western area, for example, they don't take decision for collapse all government-managed quarantines because of the huge logistical and financial implications. So some hotels they used before, and all they don't collapse them. So in terms of resources, yes, challenges them bound for day. So if specifically we don't get some concerns from Frobe College, I believe they're going to investigate them, and the intervention will take place. For 34, I don't know, but I will raise them again with the case management head, Dr. Sivali, and also the person at the technical pillar lead, Professor Fudisa, so that they look at this as a matter of urgency.
What's it they stop the issue of inclusiveness when Mr. Lavalley been talked about earlier? Also, he makes some good points there. Musa is say some markets and are open, but you go now upline the room are closed. Where they not they record cases, and then the ownership, community ownership. Like we don't make our over and over with the fights against Ebola. You see, say the community people and the chiefs them be involved, then begin their own bylaws them. But see they stop. I know say when I've been done, they say when they engage the ministry, we're responsible for the chief they are for bringing them on board. But waiting this they slow them. We make them chief they are not only in charge, or their community leaders are not only in charge for fights the sick.
I really don't know at what level, because for me personally, I interact a lot, and I make a lot of moves for make sure say we talk to public influencers. Recently, we get a project with national artists, over 30 of them. I did Kono recently. I did with I think the chairman for the Kono District Paramount Chiefs. We all they talk and they tell me about some of the moves that they make at community level. In risk communication, an important principle now for engage communities and for build trust. And I believe say we don't do them. There has been a great deal of efforts for mobilized communities. Which I think say we need for do more as manner for broaden the scope of we community engagement. Like we must more talk about social mobilization. Social mobilization is an important thing in addressing this public health emergency. So really it is happening. Me personally, even before I left on the 10 district tour, I started some discussions with some, for example, I was in touch with the APC Youth League. I talked with them and I say, we need to get a platform now, especially when are young people, we could also see how we can broaden the layer amongst the youth. So I think it happened, but I just think there is need to broaden this outreach. Because until we really get complete community ownership of the FET, like what Ibrahim Tomi say, as citizens, government can do its own in part, but we as citizens, we have to take full responsibility. So yes, there is the need to broaden this, and we continue to work at it as hard as we can.
All right, continue for the itinerary programs. Spokesperson for NACOVAC, Solomon Jamiro, we will come back to now. We look at one power headlines story. Them also the CEO and co-founder and the domestic helper organization, Chelsea Almahiro, don't call on government for develop policy them we will protect domestic workmen them in the country. Chelsea Almahiro talk this to Radio Democracy as we for member the International Domestic Workers Day when at the Tuesday, June 16. He explained more to Mangi Masari inside this interview.
Well, this year's theme also relates to the COVID because they say making decent work a reality beyond COVID-19. So everybody around the world, it's not a Sierra Leone thing, it's a global thing. But with little support also don't get from Action Aid. We want to celebrate this day in raising alarm, raising awareness with regards to domestic workers especially. The theme don't call for decent work for domestic workers. We relate directly to the convention when a decent work for domestic workers and also to SDG 8 where they call for decent work for economic growth. So this year we want for still continue for raise awareness on that, and we'll get for get little engagement with the domestic workers then for let the day not just go by. We'll be able to give them food items and also talk to them but prevent transport allowance if we pay it for them. Unfortunately, just like I used to say, all the things they know they happen. I make the ILO convention they call for decent work. Where decent work they call of all the things they where they call of job creation, where they call of employment, where they call for social dialogue, where they call for decent work on every aspect.
So how our organization don't they push for that?
Well, we don't engage the institutions and the stakeholders very relevant, and we also don't they engage employers them for tell them within the law they about, and also we self as an organization employers they know the seek for let we help them forget domestic workers. So on that we impact we don't play a role for like ensure they get a minimum wage for anywhere way they directly get from we. They also they pay assets for them, pay transport for them. But holistically again, when we look at the other side of our employers, then secondly go to say government say for pay this minimum wage. We then they pay with this how much we go for pay them people also. So I make we the call for a body where they get the domestic workers and the employers them we then also go be a body.
The commission and the partner them go make them begin to observe this day through radio and television program them we get for be na different parts them. It talk more to the reporter Karifa to content inside this interview.
Well, June 16, as we all know, na the Day of the African Child, when a day where the AU been set aside for countries in Africa, then we honor and recognize the Pekin them where they've been killed na the uprising in Soweto in 1976. So this day na a special day for Pekin them even in Salone, so na day where they commemorate every year. From 1993, the government and always on the commemorate for ensure say we bring Pekin them issues na the fall light, try for draw government attention to certain things where they happen to Pekin them, and also for ensure say we get government commitment and in some areas try for reinforce implementation towards the protection and promotion of Pekin them right.
Okay, so what in this day mean for Salone and how will they celebrate this day during this pandemic?
Well, the pandemic don't can really hamburg everybody the world over, Sierra Leone being no exception. Over the years, we can usually get some hype around the day, get some big events where the Pekin can get conference then self can present them position papers, can get different things and normal way they make the day exciting. But this year, because of the COVID-19, unfortunately, we're not able to do all them things there. So, but still, we're not left the day let it just go like that. We want that day for let picking them take up like key flagship programs then at the media. So like tomorrow I get for you picking them na particular radio them, they talk to big person or you go here say picking and then as panelists na some radio and TV station them, they highlight the issues them, they tell government it and ensure say things can happen. But certain things then they were concerned them one them they take the lead. So we encourage child participation a lot. So even though now just few picking them get for participate na the programs them, but we also they get a variety show where they do live on AYV and SLBC as well. It starts by 4 o'clock to 5:30. So this now for give picking them when not able to participate, the opportunity for let themselves showcase their talents them. The program get for be both educative and entertaining. So we don't get a lot of talents from different parts of the country. By 4 o'clock to 5:30, it go there live now both AYV TV and SLBC TV.
That's now the advocacy and communication coordinator for the National Commission for Children at the Valcastel will be talking inside that interview day to Kaifa to Conte for Seka this year, June 16, when at the African Child's Day celebration. Usa is say the celebration will turn like how it be used for this year because of the coronavirus, but then go all different program them through radio and television for picking them.
Alright, we continue with the program Good Morning Salone, where they come to you from 98.1 FM. We still get Andola Valley and Solomon Jamego inside the program, and we talk about the survey where they do the research. We should say 35% of people now free to don't lost interest in the faith. And Solomon Jamego, they give updates on the sick and how the government on the faith as they just come out all over the country. Usai they go look how the different districts they affect the sick. And when they come over to now, let me take again the views of citizens. Usai themselves give their own views on the COVID and why they think say people lost interest in the faith.
Because the government will put certain measures in place, and make certain things that they go wrong. Because when then they go more than the way for shooting and way for happen, then they do above the thing, and then they use the time for be their own priority. Because if I go make instances then to be 9 o'clock of the then they go more than that hour day. Then they use that hour day for be their own time for chill, do any other kind thing in the country. That makes some Salomon we get large experience where they see far, they say Corona not there. Corona is not here, but me believe say Corona is here. Now because of how the government and they behave, make other people they take out away.
Because the Corona, the way they say they attack people when they die. Salonia, people not ever see or not ever hear say because they attack in America, the other states, then and not there cannot ever see person all the clear in the old the people outside. Like me, so they make here. Then imagine I go plans the last week Wednesday. Where they go? You understand? By people gone at this beach and push chairs them. When people say now something. And get they understand. But when I don't go with the camp, I see crowd. You understand? The officer there, new police there, they big money. Soft on them why it says so. They big money. Tell them see crowd. Me ask them, it's not something that war anything don't be. That's what I say. They come on there, they enjoy. They never get coffee at themselves. I don't believe Corona no day. Corona every day. They put one me die to you. Me die to you. Understand? See the man don't care. Don't go add me in die to the Corona. Corona no day.
Well, like me, so me experience what me gets. Why make and relax as say Corona not in our country? Now look according to we death rate. If we multiply we own death rate with for Italy, then get high death rate past week. So we not go can sit down they say we own country they say Corona, which of course Italy for the day more than 8,000 people and they die just for one rain day. Then say Corona they now we country. Me I go some places like that aqua so side and make now more in town for swim. I go some places that they see crowd and they crowdy people and they swim picking and they go there, big people and they go there, prominent somebody there they go there. So why did they say Corona day? Well for me personality, Corona not in Salone. I'm not even convinced if say Corona day na Salone.
Government they speak the reality to it. We get a lot of increased case but that not much, So this thing me just say it's a fake. We not get the Corona in this country. It's just the effect for calm, deprive people and they need them and the business where they for do. People in the district, some people don't make them plantation where they for cancer, them business there for sustaining family, but everything just closed. How the people for survive now? You know, I'm off suffering. Go to Badim Beach, they see a lot of people, they go beach, the Levuma beach, and now lay people they suffer at the provinces and no food for it, no they better. No, the coronavirus not in this country.
All right, well, that's now views. We get more of different people and views on, you know, the sick and why we do so today. Mr. Lavalier, they come to you on this. You don't hear it from the people, and now the message. Whose message now you feel say the country or the one that would affect the sick forgive? Because as it is, doubt really day in this faith.
Asma, there is doubt, but in as much as there is doubt, you get a lot of people in Bako believe it's Corona Day. So if you really get a scientific approach, well, people wouldn't believe, people wouldn't believe. In fact, I'm going to pose that question. You have 35%, that's as at April, where we talk to 1,480 people in Western area, urban and rural. You get 65% they talk say, yes, maybe this is Corona Day, serious. The other one they talk say, me and my economy more I worry about. So, I believe say, because of them things where they happen, the more people in the Sidon, now the more the number of people where they doubt the bottle. And I think say the thing for worry about more. Now, if other parts of the world open, let's say for example, Brussels airline begin run by July, which will talk to people about whether Corona day or Corona not day. So now then confusions and then so there's so much unknown out there where we worry about. So so you get two big questions, and we not get answer to them questions. The first question: how we go open the economy where people in they get so much concern. The more accident and the more my family they suffer. How we go open the economy without increasing the disease? That's the first question. The second question: how we go able, if at all we want to continue for the support, like when NACSA they support, other NGOs and the support, how we continue for support under this condition on a sustained basis? NACSA get $4 million. Wait for that $4 million after 1-2 months, it's done. How we continue for support, provide arms to people and provide support to people on the sustained basis. So me feel say we get a lot of countries now where the members say, how do we develop COVID-friendly policies for education, for agriculture? How you go still live with COVID, they do your farm work. How you live with COVID, and they do your mining. So all of them policies, and I don't know what they're thinking within government for begin to see, no, if at all this thing I get for continue for days, instead of we pounce yourself in panic, waiting at the policy approach now for let we continue for this way.
Alright, I've been giving Solomon Jamil, the spokesperson from NACOVA. We can talk about the response of the people where we talk to and then box completely. But quickly, let's go back on a just come on a district tour, so on a cover 10 district yesterday. On a end with Kono. The same Kono again information say about 9 people that went away come out na quarantine. Police don't arrest 5 and can go back to the treatment center and all. Their issues there continue for the March, not to Kono no more other area they do people that continue for the runaway come out and quarantine. We talk to them, they will say na poor facilities, na then quarantine area there. So how NACOVA they do for address some of the issues there?
Yes, I agree with you, Khadija. In fact, yesterday when they get to session at Kono, that issue came up. The coordinator for the Kono district, DICOVAC, now be confirmed say they don't apprehend about 5, so 4 they at large. So for we not a concern, we therefore emphasize even when we do a stop at the situation room at the command center, we therefore appeal to them, say it's very important for make them bring in the remaining 4 because it's a public danger. When you look at the viral transmissibility, if people then go out into the communities, the poor unsuspecting Sierra Leoneans may be infected. Some of the things what they say be responsible for this, they say now for some kind of communication from the Kenema lab, and this also brings to mind how we manage confidential information. So it's something that we are really investigating. But also, I think they should say we also need for strengthening security manpower at across the broad spectrum of the COVID-19 response, whether it has to be quarantine now or it has to be like the inter-district lockdown as well. We need for increase and intensify security. So Kono is a key concern, and we are monitoring Kono. By and large, with 10 districts tour where we do, give we an opportunity for see firsthand how the operations they go at the different districts. The good thing is, Khadija, they don't set up them command centers across all the districts, and they are now looking forward to resource allocation as a critical part in the response. So, and my personal discussion with the Deputy Minister of Finance too, in the Deputy Coordinator for Admin and Finance, Sheku Bangura, and a key commitment that he has prioritized those districts, and he believes that will make a lot of difference in the emergency response. So yes, Kono is a concern, and the head of the situation room and also the DCOVAC coordinator assure we personally that they will not rest until they make sure that they bring in the people and we learn from their mistakes there.
Another thing again, we don't be challenging the fight and the issue of the pass. I think Mr. Lavali make mention of certain people and they get pass for the go in places them where they're not supposed to go. We ask them, say, I get pass. Other really eligible for get pass from NACOVAC for the worker during coffee or that time, or maybe gonna the upline part them?
We fumble the member say we don't talk about the e-passes, policies and procedures, and first we don't say people them where they transport essential goods, not gonna need a pass. Apart from that, if anybody get for move from one district to the other, you make your application to NACOVAC, then they look into your application, and as long as you qualify for get a pass, then go issue you with an e-pass. So if anybody they move will not get pass, that is the responsibility of the security who don't deploy at the various checkpoints for make sure say they investigate the vehicle, the possibility inside the vehicle, as long as you're able to satisfy them that you hold a valid pass, they not allow you for move. So essentially that's the picture on e-passes.
Alright, continue for doing the program. Solomon Jamiru, spokesperson for NACOVAC, and the issue of the pass, Mr. Jamiru, I don't know if I get pass where one of the key, especially to vehicle when I for during the day, then one where you they pass during curfew, because some of the police officer them working in at the checkpoints them, if you get valid pass, then will tell you say no, this pass now for during the day, NACOVAC give you. Just for clear that doubt the pass owner they give the e-pass them. Now for what can I during coffee or not during the day?
The inter-district pass is not coffee authorized. Okay. Then also, let's say for example you're in a western area, if you need a coffee authorized pass, so for example people that are in media, they go tell we say usually in a net they do them printing for the morning. So those are the kinds of applications when you make them, they have to look at it as long as there is merit. Then they might, but that is the exception really, and not the rule on this one. Again, Khadija, can I just speak briefly to the comments the order received from Ufambul them?
Would they read the text, they
okay.
just respond all over again.
Thank you.
Would they continue the program and quickly would they look at few messages them we don't come at the program. The first one where I go they say the truth is that majority of Sierra Leoneans don't believe that the coronavirus exists in Sierra Leone. So more needs to be done.
This other message said the hygienist area is undersatisfied at FBC. There is need to train the community members to help in the hygienist area from a concerned patient within now at the holding center.
This one they say I agree with Marcella. Too many irregularities at NACSA with respect to the implementation of COVID-19 related projects. HE should consider replacing the hands of the institution. Lack of requisite skill for the job and lack of integrity on the part of the leaders, regardless of where you hail from. There should be no sacred cow in the new direction government.
Another message say thank you Mr. Lavali for bringing the plight of the people in other Luma areas, because as it is now they are really suffering. I hope the government will consider to open those Lumas just like they did for the western area with Dovecourt and other markets.
This one is say IGR research seem biased. Just last week 98.1 went to the streets to get people's view in respect for the fight against COVID-19. It proved that higher percentage adhere to putting on face mask, while 35% did that now. Mr. Lavali, tell us your respondents and your methods.
Mr. Jameu, it would be helpful if the EOC includes the number of tests per day in their daily updates. This will give a clear indication on the efforts of detecting affected individuals. More tests will detect and more detection will stop the spread of the virus. From Sori Bangura on the Facebook page.
The one they say the fight has never been consistent since the end of the incubation period for all. People connected with the primary contacts of the earlier cases. The quarantine home are not effective. People struggles with the basic needs.
Mr. Lavali, thank you for telling them this morning that people have lost interest in the fight against COVID. The government needs to do something drastic to change the mindsets of Sierra Leonean. Otherwise, we'll continue to be in doom. Another message is here. Alasan Ashim Mumin Algali on Facebook say, how you go force possible for use face mask? What if certain people they get medical risk using facial mask? Another message we'll go look at inside the program say we need to include religious leaders with their religious messages that will build the belief system of the people in the community as it happens during Ebola. Another message say Mr. Lavali, can you please continue your first line where you said inclusiveness and division is in this fight? We need to know so that we'll change our tactics. This other good morning. How many tests is the EOC carrying per day? Do you think it should be on daily basis? Alright, well, I will come to we guest them before we respond. With this last one, we say social mobilizers are not paid their allowance up till now. From Samuel Brahma Matia on Facebook. Over to you, Mr. Lavali. We'll start with you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, listeners, for that message. I think the program is really participatory. For let them clarify the state under which we will reopen, and which are then conditions then they under which we will reopen, and let them conditions then they be communicated, because when them conditions be communicated, communities then go aspire for them conditions then they. In the absence of that, if we're getting incommunicado them, people and they adopt their own practices because they are tired. And I they challenge you, a lot of people they talk to Corona no day, they believe it's Corona day. But they're tired. If you tell them somebody to run a household day endlessly, the air we breathe is free, but it's sweet. But if you talk to that put face mask, will they suffocate me? I will find all kind of excuse for that pull the face mask. We research they always continue for say over 90% of Sierra Leoneans they believe say COVID day. So I mean that thing is so about I just wish that message about the vox pop that you read versus the integrity of the data. I mean I don't really get time for discuss research methodology. You can take years for discuss rigorous research methodology. So somebody say for includes religious leaders. Yes, we research they show different levels of authority, how they trust them at the country, and religious leaders now one part of the people and we a lot of communities and trust, irrespective of which political party you belong to. So to me, it's a question of how are they drafted into the risk communication program for ensure say then with somebody talk about inclusiveness and division. He say and I believe for talk about more about on that one day. So you go see say in Freetown near the epicenter, you always get contestation between the government and the Freetown City Council. Definitely me not there for talk about who that right, who that wrong. But I think say at a time like this where the country they in crisis, now the time this what they expect for now get statesmen where they live above division. statesmen and stateswomen where they live about division and come together, work across the divide and solve the problem. Now that we need. So if people and they actually scramble for votes, where they all two, where APC and SLPP come together for resolve COVID in Freetown, APC will get good name, SLPP will get good name. So I think to people and really now the problem they want let them solve rather than who is wrong and who is right. And I think we are the position that will get as well. Because really try for now we walk across the aisle and solve the problem.
Thank you very much, Angola Valley. Quickly we come to you, Solomon Jamiu from NACOVAC.
Thank you very much, Khadija. On tests per day, we always they announce this or they get we update. For example, for we 15th June update, we get 37 based on 97 samples so they analyze. 7 of them turn out for be positive. Or get Western Area Urban 5, Western Rural 1, Bombali District 1. On 14th June, based on 257 samples analyzed, we get 37 positive. So we always announce them on a daily basis. We understand, say yes, there are challenges in quarantine homes, and we will continue for strengthening their area then they address their challenges then they as they come along. Somebody also look at sometimes the experience where people can get the broad spectrum of the COVID-19 response. I want for a show we fumble they say the different pillar leads, and indeed we get a good number of people that will also be don't work in the course of Ebola, and they don't put services and experience at the disposal of NACOVAC, and some of them are also working at the district level. So we get people them we get the requisite experience and stature for able for help with for fight COVID-19. Some people them also they look at the asymptomatic cases and perhaps the case fatality ratio. And that make them they say sometimes coronavirus not the or the kind of species where this alone might be different from what is happening in the world. When we study Khadija, and this is very important, when myself also look at case fatality globally, when there was SARS in 2002, about 800 deaths over 8,000 cases, you get a case fatality of 10%. Then in 2012, we then get mass to 850 deaths over 2,500 cases. Was 34% case fatality ratio. 1 week ago, when I understand say you get about 397,000 deaths over 6.8 million infected persons, the case fatality was about 5.8%. So Salone now, if you look at the case fatality ratio, is about 4.3%. So people then they look say, okay, 51 people don't die over a population of 7-point-something million, but not a better thing. We can go about the do me business. You also they look at people where they say, okay, asymptomatic cases, we get a lot of young people in Sierra Leone. A lot of us may have gotten this virus, we have recovered from it without even knowing it. So people they also they look at this asymptomatic cases and they say, okay, well, sometimes this thing, not fake. So we have a lot of those challenges that define COVID-19 response. Where sometimes, well, there has to be message coherence, Asma. And I think they need for change the message. If the virus they mutate, and like when you get SARS in 2002, they say from bats to civets to humans. MERS, they say from bats to camels to humans. Coronavirus 2, they say from bats to pangolins to humans. It keeps mutating from the animal reservoir, then it starts infecting humans. So if there is mutation, and WHO also they come with guidelines, so then they review. Based on that as well, we can adopt and localize. But I think say message coherence very important for me to address COVID.
Thank you very much. Solomon Jamiu, we come to the program this morning. Can give update to the public about how far NACOVAC don't go in the fight against the COVID-19, amidst the challenges them we want to get along the way. And also Angola Valley Executive Director for IGR. Thank you very much. We can get updates about the research you want to do and some of the things that we want to find out. Well, now they end the program Good Morning Salone for today's edition. Alex Lawrence Kuma and Michael Sambola and they produce the program. DJ Ahmad and give technical support. Franklin Pemagui and in team that they make on our Watch Me Live now Facebook page. Mina Khadija Bangwa, they say have a nice day.
Mina Osman James, they say goodbye.